Years ago on TV, when I was a kid, I remember I would watch TV and they had this comedy team that would come on all the time named Alan and Rossi. And it was like Marty Allen. He was this crazy, frizzy-haired comic. And Steve Rossi, was kind of his Dean Martin, the handsome straight man who could sing. But Marty was absolutely out of his mind and could always crack up an audience. He certainly always cracked me up. And he was wild-looking and made the weirdest faces and did dances that you figure only a cartoon character could do. Now, Alan and Rossi have the rare privilege of being able to say they followed the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Ed Sullivan was already the biggest show on TV at the time, and the one that they had the Beatles on, forget it. That was beyond, like, everyone in the world was watching it, so they followed the Beatles. Since then, they split up, and Marty Allen's been working with his wife, and we asked, they actually asked, the TV show actually asked Marty Allen to go on, and he's like, wow, I don't know, I don't know if he's 90 yet, or damn close to 90, or maybe 100 for all I know. And he said, I can't go on there. I'm booked solid. So, now we talk to Marty Allen. Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and you're listening to the amazing Colossal podcast. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Frank Santopadre.
Hello, Gilbert.
Hi. Okay, that's it for today's show. Yes.
That's a wrap.
Oh, yeah. That was great, Gilbert.
That's a wrap.
You really touched me emotionally.
Well, that's the only way I want to touch you, Marty.
I hope so.
Nice to meet you, Marty.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now, today, you want to...
Well, I thought it was interesting timing that it's the 50th anniversary of the Beatles playing the Sullivan Show this month. In fact, it was just...
Oh, yeah.
And
I've done so many interviews, I feel like I'm the fifth Beatle already.
There are a lot of fifth Beatles, Marty. So tell us about playing with them, meeting with them, following them in '64.
It was fantastic. First of all, when it was at the David Letterman Theater, where David Letterman is doing his show now, and Steve Rossi and I were in a limousine, and there were thousands of little girls backstage waiting to catch a glimpse. And our limousine pulled up, and the kids were yelling, Ringo, George, John, Paul. And I kept yelling, Marty, Marty, Marty. And then they threw notes in our window, love notes and photos. And it was unbelievable.
What?
It really was unbelievable. And then we went in the theater, and it was like pandemonium. And I said to Steve, I got to come up with some kind of a line to get them right off the bat. When we do our afternoon show, the kids were screaming. And when they introduced us, I walked out and I said, hello there, I'm Ringo's mother. And the kids yelled, it's his mother. And they started screaming. And I jumped in the audience, and I had told Steve, don't do a ballad, do an up-tempo song. So he did an up-tempo song, and I was dancing with the kids where they went out of their mind. And then we went back on the stage and did our act. And I knew right off the bat they were going to be a sensation. They were, and not only that, they were wonderful. They were kind, very courteous. They had no idea who I was, and at that time I had that Zulu haircut, and they kept looking at me, and John was getting ready to go on in about 20 minutes. I walked over to him, and I said, "John?" He said, "Yes." I said, "A lot of people mistake me for you." And he looked at me like, "Oh, my God." he went bananas. And then I got a hold of a policeman's hat and a jacket off of one of the cops, and I started following Ringo everywhere he went. And he was going bananas. I said, "I have to protect you." Then he went in the men's room, and I stood guard. He says, "Well, you really are supposed to protect me?" And I said, "Yes." And he said to me, "Make sure you wash your hands when we leave." And I remember the song the first song they did was "All My Loving."
That's
but
right.
the week before they appeared on the Sullivan Show, the hot song was "I Want to Hold Your Hand." And I also know that for performing on the Sullivan Show for the 3 shows, they received $10,000.
Wow.
How about that? And they got one telegram, and do you know who it was from?
Who?
Elvis Presley. My dear friend Elvis Presley sent him a congratulations, a wire of congratulations.
Now,
I thought that was class.
You followed the Beatles more than one time, I heard.
Oh yeah, we did the other show in Miami also, and I remember how much they got for a front row ticket to their first concert in America. $4.
Wow.
How do you like that? And one of the girls stole from Ringo. She pulled his St. Christopher medal off, and he went bananas, and he begged to get it back. And finally the girl got it back, and he gave her an autographed photo, and he felt much better about that. And let's see, I'm trying to think. Then they went on tour. I remember they went on tour. And their North American tour, they must have done about 22,000 miles across our continent.
Now,
in a little over a month.
Wow.
Now,
and when they said roughly how many people saw them on the tour,
he's taking over the show. That's it.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
I just,
154,000 people.
I'm just going to go out
tour.
and get lunch.
Now that I gave you all the information, can I hang up?
No.
That's all we needed. Mark.
Now, I want to know when these photos that the girls, were there any, what type of photos were they?
What do you mean? The ones they threw through the window of the limo?
Decent photo? I mean, photos that you could show.
No, I know where you're going.
Yeah. You know me all too well.
Photos.
They
They were just photos of themselves. In school or whatever.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I love you, Ringo. I love you, Paul. I love you, John. I love you, George.
See, I was picturing.
Those were the kind of photos they threw through the window of the limo.
Could you change when next time you tell a story? Can you say they were pornographic photos?
No, I can't say that. Gilbert. Because at that time, my face was still broken out. I can't take kids.
Now, I heard that you were also became friends with John Lennon.
Yeah. After he found out who I was and he watched the act, he walked over to me and very nicely said to me, "You're really very funny." He gave me a very nice compliment, and he was really a nice guy. They all were. They were, but I could tell right off the bat. I said they're going to be a sensation in our country.
And did you and John?
And the first song that they were singing, I believe, was "All My Loving." That was the first one.
Did you and John talk like a lot to each other?
Oh no, we didn't have that much time because Sullivan more or less kept them very busy. You know, and don't forget, this was their first big appearance. And they had other things on their mind, and I didn't want to get into a deep conversation.
Now, I heard, I was talking to a friend of mine who knows Eugenio, and I asked, I thought you might want to tell some of your jokes on the air. And he said, you don't like in public saying stuff that's off color.
Off color?
Yeah, like...
Well, let me see. I've never done anything like that, Gilbert. That's your great talent. I remember one of the first things I ever said. "Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, and I'll show you a house full of dirt."
Now, can you
My favorite joke, I remember one of the first jokes I ever did.
Yeah.
There were two guys that were drunk. They were at the zoo, and they were standing by the lion's cage, and they were looking at the lion, and all of a sudden, the lion let out a tremendous roar. And the one grunt says, "Okay, well, let's go now." And the other one says, "No, I'm going to stay and watch the movie."
Marty, let me ask you about Ed Sullivan, because I read an interview with you where you said he was a very...
Well, I'll tell you, people ask me how many Sullivan shows we did.
Uh-huh.
I tell everybody I did more Sullivan shows than Ed Sullivan.
But you said he was a nice guy, and not everybody in the business considered him a nice guy, which I found interesting.
Yeah, he took a liking to Steve and I, and the reason he used that so often is, I hate to tell this to Gilbert, but because we did a plain act, and he knew he never had any problems.
So in other words,
we'd never say anything or do anything that would embarrass him. He was very strict on the show, I'll tell you that.
So that's the difference
and
between...
in those days, you couldn't do a commercial, because if you did a commercial, he thought you were getting money. That bugged him. So you anything in your routine that would familiarity to a product, he wouldn't allow it. But there were things that I thought about that I would love to have done. But he was very kind to us, and he really liked us.
So unlike me, you work very clean.
Yeah, I know. What about it, Gilbert?
Can you tell?
Hey, Gilbert, did you know the Harvard School of Medicine did a study of Jewish women, why they like Chinese food so much?
Why?
Okay, Marty.
Do you know why they like Chinese food so much?
Why?
The study revealed that the reason for this is because wonton, spelled backwards, is not now.
Great joke.
Now, a couple of times on the...
And the other thing, Gilbert, there's a controversy on the Jewish view of when life begins. According to Jewish tradition, the fetus is not considered viable until it graduates from law school. Oh my God, I'm making Gilbert laugh. Somebody tape this. Somebody tape this.
We're trying to.
As a thought.
Yes. Now, can you tell, a couple of times on the phone, you've told me jokes that were not really network TV friendly. Would you be able to tell one of those?
Where?
Here, on my podcast.
It's okay, Marty. No one's listening.
I just gave you two good.
Yeah. We're the only two people listening to this podcast.
Oh, I don't believe that, Gilbert. I know your fans. They're glued to your broadcast.
May I say, then, one of the jokes you told me?
One of the jokes I told you were in complete confidence.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I told them to you,
okay,
so you could use them.
No, then no problem. No problem. So you're more decent in your material than I am.
Well, you have a knack for doing a certain kind of humor. Oh, I remember something that I was looking up different things. I'm writing a book about my life, and I remember when I met George Burns. Gilbert, you got to hear this.
Yes.
He told me if I get big laughs, I'm a comedian. If I get small laughs, I'm a humorist. And if I get no laughs, I'm a singer.
Funny.
So did you know George Burns well?
Yeah, he was he saw me work, and he gave me a very wonderful, he said to me, you are truly a very funny physical comedian. And I flipped out when he said that to me. He was so nice. He really was. And he said, where do you get your humor? I said, it just comes to me naturally. Being physically funny, many things could happen, and I can ad-lib my way through many, like being on the Mike Douglas show or doing Hollywood Squares or doing the different shows. I was never told what to say or how to say it because I knew that it would come off very funny.
Now,
and you have that talent, too.
Oh, thank you. Now,
yeah.
I saw a clip of you on the Dean Martin show.
Yeah.
And you accidentally, I forget the guy, damn it. You accidentally pulled someone's toupee off.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the most famous things. I was dancing, and it was Leslie Uggins and Dean Martin and Eddie Foy.
Oh, okay.
And, while I was dancing, Eddie Foy suddenly put his hands up and started pulling my hair because, at that time I had the wild hair and everybody, it was one of my physical attributes. And when he started pulling my hair, I reached up and grabbed his hair, and it was a toupee, and it came off. Everybody collapsed. I think Leslie Uggins and Dean Martin, they got so hysterical they almost fell over. That was one of the funniest things that ever happened.
And he,
well, a lot of funny things happened.
And he played it very well. Because when he got the toupee back, he just sort of put it on his head and arranged it and acted like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm. yeah, that was one of the most hysterical. Another thing, I did Hollywood Palace, and I walked in, Martha Ray was on, and I asked her to do my hair, and I brought all the essentials, but in the meantime, she had a box there with baking powder, and she used the wrong powder, and it was for baking a cake. And she rubbed it on my hair. And at the end of the program, when she took the thing off, there was a cake on my hair.
It's stamps I want. Stamps. Where's Richard's stamps? Stamps. Oh, my stamps. That's not as good a dough. My dear little stamps. Oh, look at them. 12 million stamps. Now I can get what I've always wanted. A hockey puck.
Marty, are you home?
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen.
Hello there, Martha.
Hi.
Hey, listen, you gotta help me out. Can you give me a permanent wave?
Why, your hair looks beautiful.
I'm starting a new movie tomorrow for Paramount, and they're gonna let me play a lover with wavy hair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what is that?
That's a permanent wave kit. All the barbershops are closed, so I thought you could help me out.
Oh, gee, Marty, I never did a permanent before. I don't know how to do it.
There's nothing to it. All the instructions are on the box. Oh, come on, honey, please, you can get me ready. It's a big part for me.
Well, I like to help you.
I never played a lover.
Well, what do I do? Just follow the
There's
instructions?
nothing to it. Just follow the instructions on the box.
All righty.
And, you know, it's important.
All right, don't worry about a
I
thing.
never played a
I'll
lover.
take care of you. Any other thing will be an improvement.
That's my first part where I'm going to play a lover.
I'll fix you all those way. I'll give you a little towel. Get you all cleaned up here.
Help me out.
Da-da-da-da.
Batman! It's the first time I'm going to play a lover in a part.
Now, if you know the directions, just follow the directions.
Just
Here on
do
the
what
box.
it says. Follow the instructions on the box. My first part in the movie, I never had a lover part. I thought that I would be the kind of...
Marty, honey, this just doesn't sound right for a permanent.
Honey, just follow the instructions. Just do whatever it says.
Do whatever.
Follow the instructions
Follow
on
the
the box.
instruction on the box.
It's important, Martha, that I'm
Ready?
looking for the part in the thing. Because I know that I never had a kind of a part where I was the lead in an act. That if you have that, those people know Frenchie would be very proud of me if I should do it. And I said, why shouldn't he? I said, well, why not? Because it's like that wasn't in the rehearsal. I said, why couldn't I play it? So Mr. Cox at Paramount says, it's important that you have that. Steve gets to sing it all the time. Steve sings to the girls, and I figured, well, if he's...
One,
I should be the lover.
2, and a half. Whoops, too much.
There are 4 girls in the picture, and he says to me that I would be a natural to do that kind of a part. It's important for a show to have that kind of a thing going. And
I need a sugar,
you know,
I need a pinch of sugar,
that
I need a
thing
pinch of
goes
sugar.
where
Fabulous.
you walk. I said, why not? He said, if it's important to the plot of the picture. Mr. Carson, you know, Marty, it's the first time we ever been to You're doing a wonderful job. And it's got that kind of a feeling that part is in a movie. I said that I'm going to do that. He said, because, Martha, could you close the window? It's getting chilly. And I find that it's got that kind of a thing going. And I said, why not? If people know that I'm playing a part of a Steve always gets the girls, and I
You look beautiful, honey.
You're doing a fine job. Why not, Mr. Potts? It's got that kind of an attitude.
Marty, honey, can you take a 380 degrees?
If that's what it says, I can take it. This one is I said, why not? He said, because you're going to play the lover. You know, this is my first time in our second picture of the film.
It's on now. Okay. Now you're on. Hey, listen, Marty.
Yeah.
What do you call this stuff?
Crowning glory.
Crowning glory.
Yeah. You're doing a wonderful job.
I think it's done now. I think it's done now. Wait a minute. Less.
I just knew that you could do the job. It's important that you have that kind of glory. I said it's important that Martha would
Yes,
know.
I understand, honey.
Wait, something smells good. Somebody must be making a cake.
Cake baker me.
You could do the job. I could have gone there anybody, but you know. I said, well, Mr. Clark.
Marty, I've been looking for you everywhere.
How do you like it?
Hey, I didn't know today was your birthday.
It's his birthday?
It's his birthday.
All right. There we are. Happy birthday to
you. Now, did you know...
And she asked me what it was like to be when I was a kid, what kind of a kid I was. I said I used to play spin the bottle. You remember the game?
Yeah.
Spin the bottle?
Sure. Yes.
And a girl would spin the bottle, and if the bottle pointed to you when it stopped, the girl could kiss you or give you a nickel. And by the time I was 13 years old, I owned my own home.
Great joke. Marty, I have to ask you about the hair. Was it really your hair, or was it a?
It was my hair.
Was it something you?
I was the first one actually to have, the wild hair. Even before anybody even thought of it. They used to look at me and they said, "What kind of wig is that?" I said, "No wig, it's my hair."
But you grew it purposely like that for the act?
And I just let it grow.
I see.
And it became a phenomenal hairstyle. And I kept it all the time. Alan and Rossi were together. And then when we split the act, I got a call that the producer of The Big Valley, the Barbara Stanwyck show.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
And they said to me, "Would you cut your hair?" Well, I wanted to do acting. I said yes. And I remember when they cut it, it was a big celebration. And in fact, I think the guy used I think it was Saul Goldstein, the barber, and he used a torch. They made a big deal out of it, and that was the first time I got all kind of write-ups. Earl Wilson and all the columnists, Jim Bacon, everybody saying Marty cut his hair. It's a big deal.
Did anyone talk about your acting, though?
About what?
Your acting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I played a Jonah. I was given a tremendous part, and it went over so well. I was nominated for a couple of awards for my acting, and Barbara Stanwyck, we were sitting one day talking, and she was telling me how wonderful an actor I could become, a very good actor if I gave up comedy. She said, "You did one great job."
Wow.
And I played the Jonah. And if you ever can get hold of it, it's quite a thing.
So,
if you know what a Jonah is, it's the guy that comes to the ranch and everything goes wrong, and all the guys on the staff. No, I don't mean on the staff. All the people who worked on the ranch said, "You got to get rid of him. He's a bad luck guy." And like the rains came, the cattle ran away, and different things happened. They blamed it on me.
That's kind of like, what was that? William Macy.
Little Abner.
Oh, the cooler.
The cooler. Yeah.
He had a funny name.
Yes. Now, tell us another one of your jokes.
Well, they used to ask me when I was a kid what I liked to do. I says, "Well, I like to play all kind of games. I never liked hide and seek because when I hid in the closet, my family moved."
That's great.
Now, can I throw out just some names to you of people you may have worked with or known? Now, Groucho Marx.
Groucho?
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very intellectually funny. He was a very nice guy. I remember when I met him. He was, he had an unusual sense of humor. But most of the guys, Gilbert, the big ones were always very nice. I met Jack Benny. I worked with Sinatra. I worked with Nat Cole. I worked with Paul Anka. I worked with Lena Horne. I worked with Shirley Bassey from London. And these are all big stars, and all the big stars, they never come off as, conceited.
They were all considerate people.
Elvis took a liking to me, and he came to see my show when I was appearing at the Sands or the Flamingo at that time, and they're all class guys, all class.
So
never any problems.
So
no conceit, and we're always willing to help you or tell you how much they enjoyed you. And if they came to see the show, they were just wonderful people.
So both the Beatles and Elvis Presley were fans and friends of Marty Allen.
Yes, yeah, I could say that.
And did you socialize at all with Elvis?
Oh, yeah. Well, Elvis invited me many times up to when he was at the Hilton. Many times he would have, after the show, he'd have, big affairs up in the suite, and he'd have singers. And in fact, I did the last show with a very wonderful, talented, phenomenal woman. And you know who it was?
Who?
Mama Cass.
Wow.
Big fan.
So
right before she passed away.
What were these parties
and
like?
At that time, I was very heavy. I was really almost weighed about 200 pounds. Bill Miller, the famous booker here in Vegas, he booked Mama Cass and I together, and they titled it The Heavyweights of the Strip.
That's great.
Now, what were these parties at Elvis's like?
Well, he'd invite the singers up, so he and his group would sing all kind of songs, and they had beautiful table of all kind of sandwiches and stuff. And if you were lucky enough to be friendly with him and were invited, it was a great compliment. But I had a lot of laughs with him. He was just a wonderful human being.
That's Elvis and you hanging out.
Trying to picture that.
Yeah, that's something. Elvis, you, and the Beatles. It's just like
Elvis and the Beatles.
All right, now, Marty. Every so I need another joke.
Oh, come on.
I love your jokes. I'm a victim.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a victim to your jokes when I hear them.
You really like it?
Yes, I love your jokes.
Oh, yeah. A guy went to the doctor and he said, I have a ringing in my ear. And the doctor said, don't answer. And the doctor had a stethoscope up to the man's chest. And the man says, hey, doc, how do I stand? And the doctor says, that's what puzzles me. And the doctor says, you're going to live to be 70 years old. He says, I am 70 years old. The doctor says, see, what did I tell you?
I got to tell you, a couple of years ago, I went to see you and your wife perform in New York.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yes, and it was a great show.
Thank you. In fact, that was the first time I actually met you in person.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was Gino who brought you.
Yes, Gino Salamo. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gino Salamo. He said, I'm bringing a friend of mine.
Gino.
I said, who? He says, Gilbert Gottfried. I said, oh, I watch him on television. He's an extremely funny man.
Oh, wow. Thank you,
And
Mark.
I did. I've always, Well, I came to see you when you were in Vegas.
Yes. I found out about that. Like, I was there. This was just, it seems like maybe like a week or so after.
Oh, I remember it was at the Michael Feinstein. That's where it was.
Yes. And then, like a short time later, I was working Vegas, and I look in the first row, and there you
I
are.
was.
Yeah, I was honored.
Well,
And
I went to see you because I sincerely believe, Gilbert, I'm not pulling any kind of thing you said. You're really a funny man. You got a lot of talent, and stay in the business because something good will happen.
I remember after the show in Vegas, I was in out in the lobby selling like DVDs and books.
Yeah.
And
That's shocking.
Yeah.
You were peddling your merch after the show.
Yes, yeah, that's very
It's so unlike you.
I'll be looking for a new co-host.
I came up. You tell him what I did.
Yes. You want to tell him what you did to me?
I said I want you to meet my wife.
Marty. First, Marty comes up to me, and he says, "Hello, great show, blah blah blah, great." And I say, "Great seeing you." And then he says, "Good night," and he walks away, and I'm signing autographs and whatnot. Then he comes back with this, very large, heavy black woman that he grabbed out of the crowd. And just using her as a prop, brings her over to me with his arms around her and said, "Have you met my wife?"
Yeah, she was very nice. No, she was a very dear friend of mine.
So you knew her?
I know for quite a while.
Oh, because I thought it was just some random black person you grabbed, and I thought that could be dangerous. I was cracking up.
Yeah, somebody asked me, did they ever ask you who were heroes in your life?
Oh,
Gilbert,
me?
if you think back, who have you always admired, or who have you always looked up to, or when you were growing up, did you have any particular heroes?
Oh, so many. And I will. And I'm not just saying this because you're on.
Aside from me.
Yeah. Okay. Here was one I loved as a kid, and I wonder if you'll have nice things to say about him, and that's Jerry Lewis.
And then it went dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
I had two heroes when I was growing up.
Yes.
Joe Lewis, Sugar Ray Robinson, the original Sugar Ray Robinson. Joe Lewis and Franco Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those were my heroes.
Yeah. But Jerry Lewis, did you ever work with Jerry Lewis?
Well, I knew Jerry very well. I never worked with him.
And you got along with him?
Oh yeah, we always got along. I never had any problems. I admired him for his talent. You got to give Jerry credit. He was a brilliant man as far as movies are concerned. I mean, aside from Martin Lewis being a sensation, but as a movie maker, he really knew what he was doing.
Now, you and your partner, Steve Rossi, made a movie yourselves.
Yeah, Last of the Secret Agents.
Last of the Secret Agents.
It was a lot of fun. We had Nancy Sinatra and one of the most marvelous actors Lou Jacoby.
Oh, yes.
Love Lou Jacoby. And didn't
Remember him?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
and Marty
He
didn't
was one of the most brilliant screen comedians that I thought he had more talent than so many others.
he was great. And didn't Nancy Sinatra sing the theme song too, Marty?
Yeah.
And she was in the movie, too.
Yeah.
Now we also, and Frank pointed it out to me, and I'm amazed at this, who was the director?
Abbott, Norm Abbott.
And he was related?
Norm Abbott and I'm trying to think who the writer was. A very famous
Mel
writer.
Tolkien.
Yes.
Mel Tolkien,
But
yeah.
was Abbott related to Bud Abbott?
He was. I believe he was the nephew of Bud Abbott.
Wow.
Of Abbott and Costello.
Wow. So he knew comedy teams.
Yeah, he did.
Now, did you ever...
Well, everybody says, who are the comics of today? I said, well, I don't know them personally, but they're all in Washington.
Well, Mel Tolkien of your Show of Shows fame wrote that movie for you, Marty.
What's that, sir?
Mel Tolkien, the famous comedy writer.
Oh, Mel was
Worked for
a
Sid Caesar.
brilliant comedy writer.
Now, what's...
You know, when you think of, speaking of comedy writers, when somebody just asked me, Sid Caesar, you know, it's very sad to know he recently passed away. What a comedian he was. A brilliant, brilliant comic. And think of the writers that he had on his show. Think of who his writers were.
Yeah,
sure.
Woody Allen. And
Mel Brooks.
Larry Gelbart.
Neil Simon.
Yeah.
Carl Reiner.
All those famous guys were writers on the Sid Caesar show.
Now, what... Yeah, because I remember watching you all the time on all the TV shows. And what was the split up between you and Steve Rossi?
Well, to be honest, Gilbert, we had great success. We had marvelous success. And then we kept going over and we kept doing, how many times I started to think, how many times you played at Copacabana in New York? How many times can you play the Shapery in Chicago and do all the clubs? And we had great success, but I felt I wanted to do more than just being part of a great comedy team. I wanted to do acting. I was getting all kind of calls, Gilbert.
Now, what kind of acting?
One of the biggest calls I ever got was Mary Markham. They asked me to be on Hollywood Squares and to be an individual personality. I said, "Oh, what a wonderful thought to be with Paul Lynde and Charlie Weaver and those, those guys."
Wally Cox.
And it was, yeah.
Now, what?
And I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do more acting, and there were things that I wanted to do, and I said to Steve, "Listen, we've had great success, and I just felt that now was the time that we should part." And that's the way. And we are, I could probably say we are the only comedy team to split amicably.
Wow.
I still see Steve. He lives in Vegas. And occasionally we have lunch or we see each other. But I never wanted to, have any kind of terrible parting.
Oh,
So we are actually are the only team that I know of that split very amicably.
Because every comedy team seems like they hate each other. Like Martin and Lewis hated each other. Abbott and Costello hated each other.
Yeah. And, we never fought over any. We just went out and did our job. Excuse me. And we enjoyed. And then when I met Karen in a restaurant, and I heard her singing, I got the idea of a husband and wife because of Burns and Allen. In fact, today they call us the new George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Wow.
Oh, only I'm Gracie.
Wow.
That's quite a compliment.
I'm Gracie. And she is not only a brilliant singer, she's a phenomenal, Gilbert, you saw her.
Oh, it was great.
A great straight lady.
And I remember you coming out as, I think, Lady Gaga. Hello?
Well.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you come out as Lady Gaga at one point?
Yeah. No, I came out as Lady Gaga's father. I came out in a wild outfit as Lady Gaga's father. Although I came out, the first time we did Hey Big Spender, and Karen introduced, she says, we have the great talent of Shirley MacLaine, and I came out in drag, and Karen and I did Hey Big Spender, and I played Shirley MacLaine.
It was sweet charity.
Now,
that's great.
What? Let's. Oh, geez. See, you just stepped over me, Marty, and now I'm gone.
Marty, talk about Nat King Cole first introducing you to Steve. Is that how it happened?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was like the local comic who became, after the war, I started playing small clubs in my hometown and built up a reputation. And one day the agent said to me, I got you in a club here in town with a very good singer. So I said, oh, great. I said, who's the singer? He said, well, you're going to open for her. I said, I'm going to open for her. I said, who is it? You want to hear who it was? Sarah Vaughan.
Wow.
And I says, oh, my God, Sarah Vaughan. I've been, a great admirer of Sarah. Like Ella Fitzgerald, two of the greatest singers in the world. And she took a liking to me, and she called Nat Cole, because in those days, in all the agencies, the hardest thing were singers, if you recall, and they would use a comedian to open the show for them. So the comic would do like 20 minutes, and then the singer would come up. And she recommended me to Nat Cole, and his manager got me with Nat. And there's no way there are not enough superlatives to tell you how wonderful a man Nat King Cole was. Not only one of the greatest talents that ever lived, but as a human being, he was unbelievable. And he was kind and very thoughtful, and we got along very wonderful together.
Now, I think Nat King Cole, when he first got either his television show or radio show, was only like 15 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
They
he had a
weren't
great
sure.
show.
I think they weren't sure if people would want like a black performer on for that long. And so they gave him like 15 minutes. And then it was a big deal when it was moved to a full half hour. He announced it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Gilbert. But in that 15 minutes, he showed how diversified he was. He was a brilliant piano player as well as being, because, you know, he started out with the Nat King Cole Trio. But he not only was a brilliant piano player, he was a phenomenal singer. And he had a warm, compassionate feeling the way he did. He was like Sinatra. You would say Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra were two of the greatest singers in our lifetime.
Now, Marty, I'm just throwing out at you because so many people do an imitation of what Nat King Cole sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do a Nat King Cole imitation?
No, I don't do it.
Ah.
I can't even do a Gilbert Gottfried impression.
So I think you're like the only one who can't.
No, you're one of a kind, Gilbert.
Oh, thank you, Marty. Now, you were one of those. You were known for your insane dancing.
Yeah. Well, I was a jitterbug champion. I was a state jitterbug champion.
Wow.
I used to go dancing everywhere. I used to go up wherever there was a dance where people were dancing. I'd go up there. I'd swing. I was just one of the wild jitterbugs.
I remember seeing clips of you. I think they're all over YouTube and stuff. It was
I used to do back movements and jumping. I did wild dances.
It looked like a cartoon character, like no person could actually.
I look like a cartoon character.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for the compliment.
It looked like no real person could move like that. Now here's something Frank and I were curious about.
Yeah.
Everyone. Now, what was your catchphrase when you and Steve Rossi worked together?
What?
Yeah, your catchphrase that you are known for.
Oh, hello there. Well, what happened was we were appearing in Philadelphia, a famous nightclub called the Latin Casino. And we were in the middle of the act, and Steve asked me something, and I blanked out. And I looked at him, and I knew I had to cover it.
That's great.
So I just looked at him and went, "Hello there." And he looked at me, "What?" And he asked me the question again, and I said, "Hello there." Yeah, and I picked up the audience hysterical laughing. And when the show was over, people started walking over to me and said, "Hey, hello there." And I suddenly said, "Oh my God, I got a catchphrase." You wait all your life to find something like Joe Fenner had, "You want to buy a duck?"
Yeah.
Or Lou Costello had, "I'm a bad boy." And different.
I remember.
Try to find a catchphrase that would linger, that people would recognize. And hello there caught fire.
So your signature
and
line.
at that time, we would do different people in the news.
Yes.
And Steve would introduce me. He'd say, like, here's the president of France, and I'd say, bonjour there, or Israel, shalom there, you know, and hello there caught fire. And I wrote it Hellodere.
That's great.
I remember a kid going to school and he wrote something out with there, and he wrote a DERE. And the teacher said, that isn't how you spell it. He said, oh, yeah, I heard that comedian, and I know that's how he spells it.
I remember as a kid watching you. And they would always, I remember, like Steve Rossi would quite often play a reporter. And he'd hold a mic and go, you know, we're talking to whatever, the greatest football player or astronaut. And you would, like, turn around with your eyes going in 5 different directions, and you'd go, hello there! And I would, like, crack up each time.
Yeah.
It would kill me.
It became a national catchphrase.
All from a memory lapse.
Every time I even send a photo out, like someone asks for a photo, I write hello there to whoever, hello there, Marty Allen. And in fact, I'm writing my book now, and it's hello there, welcome to my life.
So when do you think this? Well, you're still writing it. You're still.
Well, we're Karen and I are trying to whip it into shape, and we hope to get it out within the next month, if possible. You know, there's so many things that happen in your life that you try to reminisce about. And then we're adding photos, and we just have to, you know, you have to put it all together.
Yeah. Well,
it's not easy.
So the book is going to be called "Hello There, Welcome to My Life."
As far as I know, yeah.
It that sounds. I will definitely read that. And now we need. I will.
I'll make him read it, Marty.
Yes.
That's good.
But I have to have another joke.
Another what?
Another joke. Your jokes kill me.
Well, I gave you. Well, you know. Whoa, I remember the one when the man called his mother in Florida. He said, Mother, how are you? She said, not too good. I've been very weak. And the son said, why are you so weak? She says, I haven't eaten in a month. He says, Mother, that's terrible. Why haven't you eaten in a month? She says, because I didn't want my mouth to be full. She should call.
That's a great joke.
Because I didn't want my mouth to be full in case you should call.
That's great.
So, okay. We have to wrap now, and we would love to have you back again. Cause,
yeah, Marty, will you do another one with us?
Do another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another time.
Well, okay. But for the same price?
Same price. Same as the Beatles got the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, by the way, how many of these programs have you done already?
I think this is the third one.
Yeah, this is just our third, and it was great. And we.
Good.
It was an honor to have you on.
It's a treat.
It was an honor to be on, Gilbert.
Oh,
I
thank.
stayed home this afternoon. I even combed my hair and put on cologne because I want to be in shape.
Well, your hair looks great and you smell terrific. And this has
Well,
been,
Thank you,
I
Marty.
told you I'm one of your groupies.
well, I don't know what that means.
He's going to throw
That's-
some pictures in your window.
Yeah. I hope this doesn't mean we have to go back to a hotel room together.
Yeah.
But
Well, Karen and I were just in Florida. You know, I love Florida. I love the diversity. You know what that means, Gilbert?
what?
Diversity in Florida.
Yeah.
I went over the tree, and I shook the tree, and you know what happened? 6 oranges and 12 Cubans fell out.
Well, this we have to close up, and this has been great.
Thanks, Gilbert.
I could listen to your jokes like for like an entire day, if not
Oh,
more.
wonderful.
And so this has been the great Marty Allen.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you,
treat.
great Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoy.
And this is the end, and I'm Gilbert Gottfried, and my co-host has been Frank Santopadre, and this
Hey,
is...
your co-host is very good.
Oh, Marty, you're a prince. Thank you.
Well, at least you think so. I have problems with it. But that's we'll talk about that off the air. And this,
Are you paying them the same thing you're paying me?
exactly.
Less.
And this has been the amazing Colossal podcast. Thank you, Marty Allen.
Thanks, Gilbert. Bye-bye.
Thank you.